Hey y'all, welcome and welcome back. If you're new here, my name is Morgan, and here we do a little bit of all things creepy. And we do it daily. So if daily uploads of creepy content sounds fun to you, please be careful. Those are open flames. Come on. Come over here. Come on. Let me restart that. Hey y'all, welcome and welcome back. If you're new here, my name is Morgan, and here we do a little bit of all things creepy, and we do it daily. So if daily uploads of creepy things sounds fun to you, please... What are you doing? You act like you've never seen a candle. You guys get it. You guys get what I was trying to say. Let's get right on into the stories that you guys have sent in to me. Will you sit down, please? You're scaring me. I don't know if the candles are going to be making a comeback. This is terrifying. Hey Morgan, I don't know if you remember me. I'm the sender with the thing that's followed me around from Pennsylvania. I also put the emoji in my email if that helps pinpoint me down a bit more, but I'm finally here to tell my story and the thing that followed me home, and something else has been happening recently. Also, this will be another long one, so sorry again. Also, I was born really late compared to my other cousins. By the time these stories start, they were in their 20s to 30s while I was around 7 or 8. Story number 1, car ride and trees. Okay, so to start, I went to Pennsylvania. No, I do not live there. My mom's side of the family does. For a cousin's wedding back when I was about to go into 3rd grade. I lived on the other side of the country, so it took us about the whole day to get there. When we did arrive, my mom's sisters and her mom came to pick us up. It was pitch black outside. You would need a good flashlight to see where you're going. The house we went to was deep into the woods. My mom's oldest sister couldn't give a dang if she was going over the speed limit or not. So we were zooming down the highway until we had to take a pit stop for a gas station and the bathroom. I got done before everyone else, so I went back to the car so that I could get to the very back. I don't know why I wanted the back, but I was scared of the dark, and it was almost pitch black in the back. From the woods, I could hear my name. My name's not common at all, so when I hear it from the woods, I turned around. I was literally like one of those dumb kids in scary movies. To my delight, there was nothing. At least that's what I thought. But then my twin, my aunt, and my mom came outside, and we got into the car. After my grandma came out, we went zooming down the road again. For some context, the back of the car, well, more like a van, had a small window that was cracked open just a bit, enough to hear the wind smacking the car in your face. But I did not expect to hear something breathe next to that window. Then deep breathing. I told myself I was just tired until we got to my other aunt's house to drop her off and see my uncle. I was the last to get out and everyone went to the door. However, when I jumped out of the car, I felt something watching. I turned my head and saw it, a big, tall black shadow figure standing in the trees. I followed one of those rules of that night and ignored it. However, I did not follow another one and ran towards the house. It felt safe inside the house, but I knew it was still watching me. That's the thing, man. If it comes to like something in the woods, you running, it's just like, oh, you saw me? You definitely saw me. I'm very interested in you now. Every time. Story number 2, deer bones. This next story happens a day or so after we get to my grandmother's house. But the morning after our arrival, we did see a mama bear and her cubs, which is always nice to see. Except I did see it watching me again, but I digress. The mountains, I must say, are beautiful, but the things that lie inside of them, not so much. Like I said before, a day or so after we got to Pennsylvania, we went to see my cousin, his wife, and my new baby cousin. However, in their backyard, they had a hill that led to the edge of a forest. So my sister and I go outside to play, and on the top of that hill there was a creepy shed and a little garden bed next to it. So my smart 7-year-old mind thought it would be an amazing idea to go see what was up there. In the garden bed, I kid you not, there were deer bones. Along with my discovery, I saw it watching me once again, but I called my mom up to see what I found, and the whole house went to see what I saw. I asked my cousin if I could keep one, and he said sure, and got us a bag to put them in. However, my grandma didn't want those dirty-ass bones inside of our house. So to my protest, we left them outside. The next morning, they weren't there, and I've never seen them again since. Listen, I'm all for collecting bones, especially if they're ethically sourced, you know? But it's always good to make sure it's okay with the area. Like, I like to say out loud, these are beautiful, I'm gonna take them, I hope that's okay. And if you feel a weird gut feeling, put them down. It's always a good thing to do that and to give thanks when you take things from the woods. Story number 3, missing teeth. Did you believe in the tooth fairy when you were 7? Listen. The tooth fairy was one of my biggest fears, because you mean to tell me there is a lady that can fly coming into my house, taking my teeth? I was already scared, and then my mom was like, I have the perfect movie you could watch. And if you guys know horror movies, you know that this is heading straight for Darkness Falls. And if you haven't seen that, watch it. It's about the tooth fairy. It's about the tooth fairy plaguing this town. It's terrifying. It's fantastic. It's a cheesy, I'm pretty sure it's early 2000s horror movie. It's great. Watch it. Well, I believed in her. So when I found out I had a loose tooth, I couldn't stop wiggling it. Day, night, at school, at home, anywhere I was wiggling that tooth, wanting it to come out to get that crisp $5. So when I got my chocolate donut from my cousin, the one getting married, and bit into it, I was in chocolate heaven. Until I felt that familiar taste of iron and something hard in my food. I dug around with my tongue, and out came my tooth. My grandma asked if I wanted a Ziploc bag, but my mom said gross, and my cousin was laughing so hard she was crying. Later that night, when I was trying to sleep, I knocked over where my tooth was laying on the side of the bed. It rolled under the bed, and I went looking. I was desperate for that $5. I did find a tooth, but it wasn't mine. It was too sharp and way too long and gray. I didn't care, though. All I cared about was telling my grandpa. He gave me $20, though, so I was a happy camper. The next day, I did find my tooth, though. It was where I put those bones. I threw away the tooth when we were going to the store, and it never came back. Ew. Story 5. Dearest Help Watch, Ken. For as long as I can remember, my mom's side of the family called me Ken. It's a part of my name, but man, did and do I hate it. But it's finally wedding day, a happy day meant for good memories, not for me though. I was waiting outside with my twin as my grandparents were putting out the car seats in the back. I was near this spiny grass area, I don't know how to explain it, but I was looking at the flowers until I looked up. 5 feet in front of me were 2 deer. I was in shock. I wanted to pet one, so I reached my hand out, slowly, almost like I was in a trance, until I heard my grandpa yell at me, "Ken, get over here and away from those deer." I snapped my head over and towards him and heard the deer run away. I ran over to my grandpa as he lifted me in his arms. He told me, "Ken, remember this. Deer help watch. Do not trust them, okay?" I was watching the deer and felt its gaze come across me again. I looked back to him and nodded my head as I was lifted back down and climbed into my truck. And that's it for that story. Yes, it's still with me, but we're pretty chill, hopefully. But now here's what's been happening recently. Oh, the way he worded that, I have goosebumps. My twin can see them too. I thought it was just me, but I guess not. It also happened to my older half-sister, but that's not what I'm going to get into right now. So for some background on me, I play around 3 to 4 sports. Hockey, volleyball, archery, and a bit of, I can't say the word, but it's Japanese archery. So I do have a mini gym in the garage and I work out in there sometimes. But when I do, I creak open the garage door so some air can come in and I don't explode from the heat. But recently I've heard tapping and screaming from far away. I know the further away it is, the closer it actually is, so I cut my workouts short and low now. If it is what I think it is, I'm going to do a cord cutting and a banishing spell. Those are the only signs I've heard or seen so far, so hopefully it's getting bored of me, but I'll keep you posted. Thank you for reading my stories again, and have a great day or night, and give the kitties some head scratches. Pete, do you want a head scratch? Head scratch given, acquired. I don't know what I was gonna say. You need some iron, an iron stake, a little like piece of iron on a necklace. Keep it on you, keep it on your property. You need some iron, and yes, definitely cleansings and all of that as well, but you need iron. And I know it's easier said than done, but try to ignore it. I hate even saying that because it's literally impossible to ignore these things. I don't. Anyways, next story. Hey Morgan, I emailed you with a story last week, and I know that this is random, but I drew you. Your face is very inspiring for art, and that being said, I do have another story which involves the deer in Virginia. And they drew a really cool picture of me. I'm actually going to insert it here. Thank you so much for doing that. My husband was mesmerized. He was like, "Can we get this printed and framed?" It's incredible. 2 weeks ago or so, I was doing my nightly routine in the bathroom before bed. The bathroom is on the upper level of the house, giving it some distance from the ground. Outside of the window, I hear rustling. Automatically, I assume it to be skunks because we've had a few in the yard, so I look. I shouldn't have looked. There was a strange creature in the yard, and I was having a hard time figuring out what it was. Its body was sort of like a mountain lion, but not quite. The head of a deer. The way it moved wasn't normal. Every time it walked, its body morphed like a solid liquid, if that makes sense. And every few steps, it would stop for some seconds, then continue. Eventually, it got to the in-between of my house and my neighbors, and all of a sudden, there was this rustling heard deeper in the woods. When the thing heard this, it took a step over, like a step to the left, not forward or back, but to the left. When it did this, its head and most of its body was suddenly gone. I was finally able to look away because I physically couldn't before and walked out to the bathroom to the living room. The cats were watching out the window and acting strange. One of my cats even chased and attacked me, which isn't normal. When I got back to my room, there was breathing and grunting heard outside of my window, as well as tapping and knocking, but I knew better than to acknowledge it. I texted one of my friends to tell them what happened, and he suggested that we name it Geraldine, Gerald for short. Fast forward the next day, there was whistling heard in the house when I was home alone. Shadows kept running by me and freaking out the cats, and my one cat, Miko, was in the basement because he's terrified of storms. After the storm had passed, I heard him meowing from the basement to be let up. When I got up to go let him up, his exact meow could be heard from the room opposite side of the house in the hall. I let him out of the basement, glanced in the other room, and there was nothing. The next night, there were noises in the bathroom window again, but I didn't look at them. It was heavy grunting and screaming type things. When that didn't get my attention, I heard speaking right below the bathroom window, but it was no language I had ever heard. It was unrecognizable. I was texting the same friend and was like, Gerald's at it again, then explained what had happened. We were joking a bit, and I messaged, if it moves, it's over. I'm looking. Nothing else happened in the bathroom, so I thought everything was fine. Wrong. As soon as I entered my room, I heard a moo come from my window. Now I've been waking up between 3 and 3:34 a.m. every night from nightmares that feel so real it sends me into panic when I awake. One of these dreams was that it was nighttime, and I was in my living room with my grandma. She was in a recliner getting ready for bed, and there was a knock of something at the front door. She said it was the neighbors and to open it, and I said no because I felt uneasy. That's when it started making inhuman noises, like it was angry. I convinced my grandma to finally call someone, and she called my uncle. I called my mom. This thing began screaming, "Why?" The voice kept increasing, and I was ducked behind the front door. The screams got so loud that it woke me up. This is still happening, and there's still whistles and other things happening in my house. I'm a Hellenistic pagan and have gone to my gods when things got too out of hand. Thank you for taking the time to read and or share this. Please let me know your opinions on the whole situation and what I should do. So, definitely similar to the last story, you need something iron. I think that'll help a lot. Definitely try not to name these things. It forms a bond that you really don't want. You don't want to be familiar and close with these things. They're not fun, you know? If you do anything with them, you said you're Hellenistic pagan, I would consider leaving like a peace offering outside if that's something you're comfortable with. Literally whatever feels great to you. Otherwise, if you're not going to do that, I would ignore it, don't acknowledge it. I used to be super against leaving offerings for these things until I got desperate for one of them to leave me alone, tried it, and it worked. So definitely consider trying that if you're open with it within your practice, if that's something you want to do. But it seems to be forming an attachment to you, so I would do something sooner rather than later. If you don't do the offerings, or even if you do, still do the iron, still do cleansings, and still try to ignore everything. Alright, next story. I've been following you for about 2 years now. I discovered you on TikTok while looking for stories about Appalachia. I have a few stories, but this one happened most recently. This happened July 13th of last year. I was home alone with my 2-year-old and our dog. My husband was at work, night shift. My baby was sound asleep. My sleep schedule was off due to having a newborn. It was 2 o'clock in the morning, and I was sitting in bed reading when I heard 4 distinct knocks on the front door. Not like a bird pecking or a large bug hitting the door, like someone was there seeing if I was home. I would have just chalked it up to me hearing something because I was sleep deprived, but my dog heard it as well. He shoots up out of bed, ran to the door barking. On the front porch, there was a gate that I usually kept closed when we were inside. It was closed and locked. No way someone could have jumped the porch without me hearing it. I looked out of every window carefully, and there was nothing. No one on the porch, no one running away, no car. Absolutely nothing. Not sure what or who it was. Maybe my dog scared them off. My husband asked if maybe it was a woodpecker, but absolutely not. Woodpeckers tap fast. This was knock, 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 knock. Nothing else happened again, but other things have been happening here. We've since moved. Hopefully whatever it was didn't follow. Ick. Ick. Alright, next story. So sorry if you guys are in a different position. We had some technical difficulties just now. My camera stopped recording completely, said my storage was full. It's not. My cat was laying beside of me, peed on the couch. He does have a UTI, but just peed on the couch. And I was trapped right here and couldn't get up to go clean it, so I had to get my husband to bring a rag. It was a whole thing. And then my tripod fell and it cracked my head and it was bleeding right here. And I'm worried you can see it on camera. It's fine though. It's fine. Don't look at it. Why are you looking at it? Don't look at it. So anyways, I read the entirety of a Hatman story and it didn't record. And the Hatman story, I'm not saying it caused it, but that's the correlation. So let's go back and reread this Hatman story. Hopefully I'll be able to read this Hatman story. Also, I'm sorry about my hair. I'm letting my bangs grow out and they're just not, because I can't leave them in front anymore, because, like, look how long they are. I'll be like, that, it's a whole thing. I finally have enough courage to share a story of my own. It's not my only story by any means, but it is probably my earliest one that I can remember. Let me know if you want me to share my other stories, and I will definitely do that. Yes. When I was in elementary school, somewhere between 3rd and 5th grade, my family lived in a house that was definitely haunted. A lot of stuff happened there, and I can tell you about that in a different email, but this is about the night that I met the Hat Man. Before I start, I feel the need to add a couple of details. This all took place in a nightmare that I was being... Before I start, I feel the need to add a couple of details. This all took place in a nightmare, and at the time I was being mistreated by my mom's ex-husband. So I don't know if this was an actual entity, or it was just a very distressed mind of a mistreated child trying to make sense of everything. So let's get into the dream. In my dream, it was a normal sunny day and I was cleaning my room. It felt so real. I even felt bored and frustrated with having to do chores. Back then, my room was next to the laundry room, and the washing machine would sometimes go off track and start shaking enough for me to feel it in my room. This started happening in my dream, or at least that's what I thought it was at first. The shaking started to get more and more violent until it felt like an earthquake. The room got dark, and then it got so dark outside it seemed like nighttime when it had just been day before. This startled me, so when I looked at my bedroom window, and there was what appeared to be a silhouette of a man wearing a wide-brimmed hat lounging in the window, I was afraid. The weirdest part is there was nothing, like a ledge or a windowsill, for him to be lounging on, but there he sat. There he was, no face, but I could tell he was glaring at me with hatred. The hatred was so real and vivid, I could feel it with every molecule in my body. He said nothing, but I knew he wanted me to open that window for him, and I knew if I did he would hurt me. Maybe even end me, but definitely wanted to hurt me. The whole time the shaking continued, I jumped into bed and tried to scream for my mom, but I couldn't make a sound. I kept attempting to scream until I ended up waking myself up, and my room just felt so wrong, and I didn't sleep for the rest of the night. My mom was kind of dismissive of the whole thing when I told her about it. She seemed to think that I had just heard of shadow people, and that caused me to dream about it, but I hadn't actually heard of them before. When I did look them up because my mom mentioned them, I felt the chill go through my entire body. I definitely met the Hat Man in that dream, and he was not friendly. It actually recorded that time. Heck yeah. Okay. So, the Hat Man is so fascinating to me. Why is this the one? You know, it's fine. The Hat Man is so fascinating to me because people have vastly different experiences, and there's so many theories, but there's so many people that have seen him. I've seen the Hat Man. I think the traditional Hat Man is a manifestation of negative energy. A lot of people think that he is like a beacon of protection or something. Maybe it depends on the situation, because I've always seen him as someone who shows up whenever children are being mistreated or something, and that would make sense because of the situation that they were in. But maybe he can be something else for other people, like a complete manifestation of negativity or mistreatment. The Hat Man's so fascinating, though, and it's fascinating that I had that weird technical difficulty in the middle of that. Well, anyways, I guess we'll end on that note. Hello? Anyways, I guess we'll end on that note. Thank you so much for sending me in your stories, and I'm terrified. Y'all have a good rest of your day, and I'll see you tomorrow.